Well, good morning. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm State Senator Tony Hwang. We're here because August is National Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and we are implementing the enforcement, or law enforcement is enforcing the You Drive, You Text, You Pay program. I want to talk a little bit about distracted driving. It's a national epidemic and a risk to public safety, but in fact, most of us are quite guilty of it. We all do it. We take a peek of our phone, we make a quick text. We all do it, and we think that it will never hurt us. And unfortunately, accidents and tragic incidences do occur. And this program is to raise awareness, to increase enforcement during the month of August, and to raise and educate on this important issue. For me, distracted driving are preventable tragedies. A few inattentive seconds of phone or texting could forever change people's lives, and possibly the lives of innocent victims and their families. So remember this, for a few seconds of gratification, you could result in a lifetime of regret and consequences. Let me begin this program by introducing the Fairfield Chief of Police, who will explain a little bit about the enforcement program of You Drive, You Text, You Pay, and their efforts in distracted driving throughout the whole year in the town of Fairfield. Chief Liddy?
Thank you, Senator, and good morning. We'd like to thank our local, state elected officials and other guests for being here this morning. We are here to show support for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's You Drive, You Text, You Pay campaign. By 2018, distracted driving had already surpassed aggressive driving and drunk driving as being the #1 contributor to vehicle crashes on the road. I know we all live on our phones, but it only takes a split second for distracted drivers to cause serious injury, not only to themselves, but to their passengers and to other drivers on the road. We urge all drivers to please put their phones down and focus on the road whenever they get behind the wheel. We're very thankful for the grant that we've been provided to enforce our distracted driving laws during the month of August. We will have teams of officers out on our roads attempting to locate people who are texting and using their phones inappropriately, and we will be taking enforcement action. Thank you all for coming today, and we appreciate your support. Thanks.
We're very glad and grateful to have the state police present today as well. We have Sergeant Tom Keeley, who will share with you the role of Troop G and the role of state troopers in traffic safety in Connecticut. Keeley?
Thank you, Senator. As the Senator said, I'm representing Troop G today. We cover I-95 from New York to Branford, Route 15 from New York all the way through the Milford area, as well as Route 7 and portions of Route 25 and Route 8. As part of this campaign, we'll be putting on additional troopers to cover the said areas. There'll be multiple units out looking for distracted driving and related offenses. As the Senator just said, and the Chief had made reference to, it only takes a second for people to get distracted, and at highway speeds, the consequences could be much worse. So we just ask the public to use common sense, put the phone down, and pay attention to the road. Thank you.
Thank you. We heard from law enforcement, but part of this program is to raise awareness and educate. And we have Dr. Neil Chowdhury, who is well-versed in the area of traffic safety. He is a member of the Connecticut Safety and Safe Driving Committee and the DUI Task Force. And Neil and I have worked for many years on distracted driving. Thank you very much for participating. Thank you for raising awareness about this issue.
Thank you, Senator. I just wanted to share some very brief data regarding distracted driving. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, about 15% of all injury crashes nationally have distraction as a factor, and these distractions claimed nearly 3,000 lives in 2018, including 400 pedestrians. Connecticut has been a leader in distracted driving enforcement, hosting one of the first federally funded programs in 2010. From 2017 to 2018, Connecticut saw a 25% reduction in the number of drivers observed using a handheld phone in some manner. This reduction was driven by police activities geared towards enforcing Connecticut's strong distracted driving laws. The most recent data from 2019 suggests that the rate of distracted driving has remained relatively stable. Pre-program observations for the 2020 effort were completed a few weeks ago, and we expect to have the post-program observations completed immediately following the end of the program. The Connecticut Highway Safety Office focused recently on efforts to mitigate the possibility of distracted driving for impacting pedestrians, particularly children at school bus stops. A pilot program conducted in April 2019 involving police departments in 3 Connecticut towns focused on distracted driving during times where school buses were loading and unloading. The pilot program resulted in a 23% decrease in observed distracted driving in those towns. Unfortunately, the planned expansion to several more towns scheduled for April 2020 was canceled as a result of the pandemic. Distracted driving may be on course to become even more problematic. Over the 5-year period from 2014 to 2018, based on the most recent data available, there was a 53% increase in the number of cell phone-only households in Connecticut. That means that for many more people, 100% of their communication follows them into the vehicle. Recent data point to the possibility of increased distracted driving among drivers judged to be 60 years and older. The rates of distraction among these older drivers is still much lower than the youngest drivers, but if this data stands, there could be an alarming trend. Thank you.
We have Fran Mako, who is with AAA Northeast, who has been a voice in regards to traffic and automobile throughout the state of Connecticut. So Fran, please.
Thank you. You've heard all our speakers today talk about the dangers of distracted driving. And as you know, there's an enormous amount of research out there on how dangerous cell phone use is. We as a society understand that, we accept it, and we know distractions increase our risk. So here's the million-dollar question I ask you. Why do we continue to do this despite this knowledge? AAA research has confirmed people agree it is totally unacceptable to drive distracted, but those very same people who were surveyed admit that they do it anyway. Why are we as a society drawn to the ping of a text or a buzz of a cell phone? We're just so addicted to our electronics. I have a theory that's neither grounded in research or science. It's just one simply based on observation. I'm convinced that when a person gets an alert, a call, or a text on their phones, they perceive it as a form of instant gratification. The vibration appeals to our egos. That musical chime tells us someone actually thinks what we have to say is important. And when that phone whooshes or clicks or clacks in our pockets or on our cars, it pulls us into its electronic clutches. The majority of the time when you respond, you get an immediate fix. You're rewarded, so the instant gratification encourages you to continue your bad behavior. But sometimes that distraction does cause you to run a red light or wander out of your lane, or even worse, collide with a pedestrian. And then, and only then, do you suffer high-risk consequences. In other words, with cell phones, you're rewarded more times with cell phones than you're punished. So, as you know, enforcement doesn't always work, and education has gone on for years. And then I realized the other day when Senator Hwang asked me to participate, we may have the answer right in our own hands. Every smartphone comes with a do not disturb feature. It's a feature that silences alerts and calls while you're in a moving vehicle. Some phone manufacturers like Apple have enabled the feature at the factory, and other times you have to activate it yourself. On my phone, I can activate the feature with a simple flick of the finger, making do not disturb automatic. So when I get in my car, my calls and texts are automatically silenced. When I'm no longer in a moving vehicle, the function turns off. So why don't more people use this? Surprisingly, there's very little research on this question. However, I did find that the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety said most people don't use the DND function because they didn't know it existed. Others didn't know how to use it, while a segment of people simply choose to ignore it. This is a simple, effective way for us to self-monitor our behavior behind the wheel. It costs us nothing, but the dividends are enormous. Traffic safety advocates and distracted driving opponents simply need to educate the driving public about this best-kept secret. And I hope you folks in the media help us get the word out. Thank you.
Thank you, Fran. We invited the state delegation along with the First Select Woman. In fact, she extends her regards and she's unable to make it. She has a prior commitment. But I can give her a kudos because when I texted her, an immediate message came back that said she was driving and could not respond. So kudos to the First Select Woman, Kupchak. But we do have Representative Laura Devlin and Representative Brian Farnan. Representative Devlin, please come up and offer a few words.
Thank you, Senator. You know, what we heard here today clearly emphasizes the importance of not driving in a distracted manner. And in the area of Fairfield that I represent, which includes largely Greenfield Hill, we don't have sidewalks. So not only are there, fast-moving vehicles, there are pedestrians out taking walks, there are bikers out all over. We just had a tragic accident where somebody was killed by a speeding vehicle in our community. So I just encourage everybody, it's distracted driving that has to end, as well as just respect for people on the road, for the walkers to make space for cars and bikes, for the bicyclists to watch out for the cars and the bikes, and also for those in a moving vehicle. Please stay off your phones, and everybody look out for everybody else, especially in this warm weather when more people are out and about. So thank you.
Good morning. I'm State Representative Brian Farnan. As a father of two young children, one who is getting closer and closer to getting her license, I worry about this issue a lot because I want them to be safe. But this issue is just not about teens texting. When a number could be as high as 1 in 4 accidents being involved with distracted driving, texting, cell phones, it's a bigger issue than just teens. And the national kind of campaign of what were you thinking, nobody ever wants to have their life change in a split second. Good people who make a bad decision. If you have to make a phone call, pull over, be safe. Your life, the people in your car's life, and the people that you're driving with, their lives can never be taken back. So thank you so much for putting this together, and this is something we can all agree on.
Representative McCarthy-Vahey was also invited. She replied and extended regrets. She's out of town. I want to thank all the law enforcement officials behind us for your work every single day. Even though we're enforcing this month the program, you're out there every single day ensuring the safety and well-being of everyone in this state and in this town.